Most people think low intelligence is about bad grades, low IQ scores, or making obvious mistakes. But psychologists tell us something completely different. Your brain actually reveals itself through the tiny habits you barely notice. And here's what's truly scary about this. These habits don't just make you appear less intelligent. They actually rewire your brain to become less intelligent over time. Let's talk about magical thinking. Some people live as if luck controls everything. They wear the same socks to every exam, avoid stepping on cracks, or believe certain colors bring them money. It might seem harmless or even funny, but psychologists call this magical thinking. It happens when your brain confuses coincidence with cause. Maybe you wore those socks once and something good happened. Now your brain has linked them together forever. The real problem is you're replacing logic with superstition. True intelligence stops and asks, where's the evidence? Lower intelligence skips that question entirely and builds rituals out of nothing. Then there's chronic sleep neglect. You tell yourself you're fine on 4 hours of sleep. You brag about those late nights, scroll until 3 in the morning, and drag yourself out of bed feeling like a zombie. But here's the reality. Sleep loss destroys your memory, ruins your attention, and wrecks your decision-making. After just one night without proper rest, your brain functions like you're drunk. Intelligent people protect their sleep like it's treasure, because they understand it's their most powerful tool. Neglecting it isn't strength or productivity. It's pure self-sabotage. Some people can't handle being alone with their thoughts. If there's no TV on, no music playing, no background noise at all, they feel completely lost. Psychology research shows that this constant need for distraction often signals weak mental processing. Intelligent minds actually use solitude for reflection and problem-solving. Lower intelligence runs from silence because silence means facing your own thoughts. If you can't sit with yourself for 10 minutes without grabbing your phone, that's not being social. That's avoidance. Ever met someone who can talk for hours but never says anything meaningful? Just weather, traffic, can you believe it's already Friday? Small talk works fine as an icebreaker, but if that's all you've got, it signals a serious lack of curiosity. Psychologists call this low need for cognition, basically not enjoying real thinking. Intelligent people crave conversations about ideas and concepts, not just empty filler. We've all seen confidence without content. The loudest person in the room who interrupts everyone, explains things they clearly don't understand, and talks like they're the ultimate expert. But when you actually listen closely, there's absolutely nothing behind the words. Psychologists call this the Dunning Kruger effect. The people who know the least somehow think they know the most. True intelligence looks completely different. It admits I don't know and asks genuine questions. Fake intelligence just hides behind volume and aggression. Some people treat rules and instructions like they're sacred gospel. If the manual says to screw something into thin air, they'll actually try it. If the recipe says 20 minutes but the food is clearly raw, they'll eat it anyway. This isn't discipline or following structure. It's pure mental laziness. Smarter people adapt when reality doesn't match the plan. Lower intelligence follows instructions straight off a cliff without thinking twice. Flat Earth theories, microchip vaccines, planets ruining your entire week. Conspiracies feel exciting because they offer simple answers to incredibly complex problems. But that's just your brain taking shortcuts, choosing dramatic stories over actual evidence. Smart minds take time to check facts and verify sources. Lower minds accept the first explanation that feels exciting or dramatic. The real danger here is that superstitions stop you from solving actual real problems. Some people absolutely refuse to change anything. That's not how we do things around here. They reject new methods, new tools, new ideas. Not because these things are wrong, but simply because they're different. Psychologists call this mental inflexibility, the complete inability to adapt when reality shifts around you. Intelligent people adjust and evolve. Rigid thinkers stay stuck in place, and life always punishes people who stay stuck. Why wait for anything when you can scroll, snack, or swipe right now? Psychology research shows that constantly chasing instant rewards trains your brain to avoid effort and kills your patience. The famous marshmallow test proved this decades ago. Kids who couldn't delay gratification went on to struggle later in life with money, education, and health. Smart people can tolerate short-term discomfort for long-term gains. Lower intelligence grabs every quick fix available and calls that living. Some people simply don't listen. They interrupt constantly, nod along without actually hearing anything, or just zone out completely. But real listening is a form of intelligence. It forces your brain to process new perspectives and absorb different ideas. Poor listeners usually have weak comprehension skills. They can't keep up with complexity, so they just tune everything out. Smart minds can learn from literally anyone. Lower minds assume they already know everything worth knowing. That's dumb. That'll never work. You've definitely heard this before. The instant reflex rejection of anything new or different. That's not wisdom or experience talking. It's mental laziness in its purest form. Intelligent people might disagree with new ideas, but they at least explore them first. Low intelligence avoids the work of thinking and takes the easy path, which is just dismissal. Relaxing with a show or scrolling through content isn't the real issue here. The problem is when hours disappear every single day. Studies clearly show that constant scrolling fries your focus and literally rewires your brain to crave those dopamine bursts. Smart people find balance between entertainment and personal growth. Lower intelligence just sinks into endless passive consumption, letting the brain slowly rot while mistaking distraction for actually living. Every week brings a new identity for some people. One month it's all Nike, next month it's Adidas. Last week it was doing TikTok dances in the grocery store. This isn't creativity or self-expression. It's herd mentality. Psychology shows humans naturally copy others to feel safe and accepted. But true intelligence pauses and asks, do I even actually want this? If your entire personality shifts with every new trend, that's not expression. That's emptiness trying to fill itself. We all know that gamer who plays every single night but never actually improves. Hours and hours online but still terrible at the game. The problem isn't the game itself. It's the complete failure to adapt and learn. Intelligent minds recognize patterns, refine their strategies, and constantly evolve. Low intelligence just repeats the same mistakes endlessly and blames the game, the lag, the controller, everything else. Time spent doesn't equal growth. Reflection and learning create growth. Here's the truth that matters most. Low intelligence isn't really about being born smart or not smart. It's about the invisible habits you repeat every single day without thinking. Keep doing them and your brain slowly rewires itself to stay stuck exactly where it is. Break these habits and you'll see your thinking improve, your confidence grow, and even the way other people treat you will shift almost instantly. Most people will hear all of this and just scroll away, right back to the same habits that keep them stuck in average. But if you're the type of person who actually wants to rewire your brain and understand psychology at its deepest level, then don't just watch and leave. Subscribe to this channel because every single week I break down the brutal psychology truths that nobody wants to tell you but everyone desperately needs to hear.